So I was riding around. I already knew you was dope, but I was riding
Appreciate that.
around listening to your catalog the last couple of days. So I hear what you saying now because you sound like one of the MCs that I was listening to. You know, there were certain MCs that had singles, but then there were certain MCs that had body of work.
Mm.
And you remind me of those artists that you sit and listen to the whole album. And if you had it came out at the right time, because you seem a little, you younger than me, I know that's a fact. But you seem like if you came out at the right time, you would be somebody that could be on a label and go based on the body of work. You might not have had the single, the hit song on the radio, but it used to be you could drop a Raekwon album and it'll sell 50, 500.
Yeah, I would have loved that, man, to be featured on Raekwon's shit.
Yeah,
Not me.
As far as your first recording, what was the process of making your first recording? Like, you knew somebody that had a studio, or?
Well, like anybody else who started in this shit, my process was BS at the beginning. You know what I mean? Like we was recording in a headphone.
Right.
So, doing cassette shit. Like my first tape was a tape. You know what I mean? Like I'm from an era where the CDs didn't come out yet. LimeWire didn't exist. So yeah, man, I went through the struggles. The struggles of recording. And when I finally got to the stage of recording on real microphones and in studios with people who knew what was going on, man, I was blown away. I was like, man, this sounds amazing. You know what I mean? Like to record on a Newman microphone in a real studio with real speakers and this and that, not just like computer thingies, not off of headphones and not struggling to tap the right buttons at the right time. That was it for me, especially hearing your voice back clearly was dope,
Right. Wow. So I'm trying to figure out right now, because the things that you are saying makes you seem a lot older than what I think you are.
Yeah, I look pretty at my age, that's what I'm saying.
Because those are some of the struggles that we went through. But then because, like, I'm in Detroit, and things started in New York. So when I first started going to the studio, it took a while for us to just learn how to make the kind of sounds that they made in New York. Like you might have a drum machine, but it sounds like popcorn. It don't sound like
that's it. Yeah.
It took a while to get an MPC or stuff like that. But I guess it makes sense you being in a different place, because if it took a while to get to us, it probably took a while to get to you.
Well, I'm 5.5 hours from New York, so the music, like I said, like I had family out there, so it was, I'd still hear it, from my cousins and whatnot. But no, obviously, like you said, it sounded like popcorn. It didn't sound like what we were hearing, the analog shit. We wasn't getting that. And I'm an early '80s baby, so. So like, I was kind of like, hearing like a record that was cleaner than, let's say like the 93 recordings, you know what I mean?
Right.
So like, let's say like an Afura was came out with an album, and, it wasn't the same recording suddenly. It was just like a whole lot. The recording was crispier, so I wasn't obtaining that, my shit sounded like garbage. Right. So when I finally got to a studio, like I said, man, I was sold.
Okay. And once you made up your mind that you were going to be an artist, who were some of the artists that you felt had the blueprint as far as the kind of music that you wanted to make?
Well, that's a vast question, because like, I loved everything. I'm a student of the game. I love, I was more obviously on the East Coast of things. I love East Coast hip hop because that's what spoke to me the most. The feeling, the griminess of it, you could tell in my music today.
Right.
But You know, like I said, I love me some Big L, Biggie, Blase Blase. I like everything Primo. I mean, DJ Premier was the greatest of all time, hands down. You know, like if I had to meet one person, it would be DJ Premier. If I had to work with one person and it was my last 24 hours to live, it'd be DJ Premier 100%. And yeah, no, everything that circles that, you know, like I like anything that was East Coast back then, like Golden Era and yeah, pretty much that, you know. And then later on in life, you know, obviously the taste started to change up when I wanted some West Coast, you know, some like some sounds, you know. Obviously, you go to a party, you're gonna hear some Snoop Dogg back then, you know, some. But yeah,
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Now, let's talk about Montreal. I know lots of artists in Canada, mostly from Toronto.
mm,
You're the only one I know from Montreal so far. You said there definitely is a hip hop scene as far as lots of artists and producers there.
yeah, man, 100%. There's been like a scene like for as long as I know, as long as I'm a kid, you know, like when I was a kid, there's this international hip hop festival out here called Under Pressure. So people from all over, you know, they'd have Cool G come down, Cool G rap. They'd have like Cool Herc, who I met out there. You know, like the non-fictions, the this and that, anything that was hype in the moment, they'd all show up there. So and that's they did the first one, I think, in 1999, and there was a scene before that. But I mean, for us to like really like be exposed to cats out there was like 99, and 2000 was just like, you know, always escalating, you know.
It's interesting because I look, you know, once I pulled out my map. Well, not pulled out, but online I pulled out the map and I look at where you are. I look at where Toronto is, and I'm hearing what you're saying, and it's just interesting because I was involved in hip hop as soon as it was commercially available. I leaned more towards East Coast hip hop, but after a while, everything else started flowing because we're not actually that close to the East Coast.
Mm.
But it seems like all of the stuff that I would have wanted to hear, you guys are getting it. But I look on the map and you're pretty much right there. You're in a different country, but you're right there. You are right there. So it makes
That's right.
sense. Like I saw somewhere, I think in Toronto, I saw Cool G Rap is coming to Toronto.
Yeah, man.
We
He's
don't get
performing with Ason Eastwood,
yeah.
who I work with, you know, and who's a dope artist right now, which is real cool. You know, I mean, you know, we got Cool G Rap. He's the OG, man. He's the best of all time, in my opinion. And yeah, for us to have like you know, artists like that come down here really opens the books.
Yeah, like I said, we don't get stuff like that in Detroit, and but like I say, once I look at the map, I'm getting another understanding of how it goes because mostly West Coast and down south and stuff blows up where I'm at,
Mm.
and I'm trying to figure out. Like I'm looking at the numbers. Well, when there was numbers as far as how much the artists are selling and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, if it's just this little pocket over here, New York and Connecticut and stuff, how are they selling any records? But now I look on top of the map and I see Montreal and Toronto and all of that. I'm like, okay,
Yeah, that's it. They're all aligned.
right.